you to this point, brought you to this point?
Um, I like to remind people that I didn't just get started a year ago after the murder of George Floyd. Um, that is when I really showed up in towns that look like Manchester, Somers, Newington, Stafford. But I really was led to doing the work for all marginalized and oppressed people. I think in part due to what's in my DNA. Both of my parents are pastors. And so we've always been, we were raised in with the notion that our lives are here to serve others. We should be of service to other people. We should be able to help those that we can help. We should be able to advocate for those that we can advocate. And so their journey really began, I would say, probably in Philadelphia, working in some of the most horrific homeless shelters and some of the worst parts of Philadelphia, where the majority of the people in those shelters were Black people and brown people, but mostly Black people. But after the murder of George Floyd, the things that I was doing here in Manchester, it was time for me to peel back the covers. I was underneath the covers fighting for my children and other children, and having meetings by myself with a room full of white administrators trying to open their eyes to what was happening in the school systems right here. And after the murder of George Floyd, it was important for me to stop having those secret meetings, because they were able to gaslight me. They were able to kind of brush me off. And so I decided, you know what, no more of these little backdoor meetings where you try to address what's happening with my child. I'm now going to address what's happening to all the Black and brown children in this town. So that's really where I started to take a much more unapologetic and vocal stand, and primarily because I was quiet because I was afraid of ostracizing my children. Up until, I want to say, last year, maybe eighth grade, ninth grade. Both of my daughters were usually the only Black kid while we were living here in Connecticut in their friend circle. And so I didn't want to be too vocal because I didn't want to isolate them. But I could no longer take it. And so I just had to do what I knew what I had to do. And I knew I had to do what I was called to do. And so that's when I began to, take it to the streets, and not only take it to the streets, take it to the Capitol, lobbying the, town center, and eventually, building this organization, Power Up.